The unrecognized warrior. The unrecognized warrior is the warrior who is not identified, detected, or known. To simply put, he is the man who has not identified his true identity in God and what he was born to do. Bill Newman, in his book 10 Laws of Leadership, stated, "The world's greatest area of undeveloped territories lies beneath people's hearts. Many of those were great warriors who would have turned their world into a better place, yet they died without being recognized. They died without knowing their identity in God and what they were born to do." Dr. Miles Monroe once stated, "The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose." But the truth is, there is no life without purpose because God never wasted his time to create a junk. Just that many of these were buried because they were never recognized. Jesus calls them the light of the world, yet they never lighted their world. They became a salt which has lost its savor and is trampled by men. When the warrior is not recognized? 1. The king becomes useless. 1 Samuel 16 verse 11. And Samuel said to Jesse, "Are all the young men here?" Then he said, "There remains yet the youngest, and there he is keeping the sheep." And Samuel said to Jesse, "Send and bring him, for we will not sit down till he comes here." Jesse knew David was only keeping ordinary sheep, but David knew he was keeping the whole Israelite from their enemies. David found himself in the Most High and was recognized by the Most High, even though men forgot him. This means it does not take men to recognize you, but yourself finding yourself in God, and He does the announcement, "This is my beloved Son, hear ye him." If David had not found himself in God and had lived anyhow, he would have died as a slave, and there would be nothing like King David. David recognized the kingship territory under his heart. Today, David is not there, but you are the David of your generation. Have you found yourself in God and recognized yourself? For when David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep. Acts 13 verse 36. Jephthah found himself and was recognized and became a ruler over his brethren. What happens when the warrior is not recognized? Second, the destiny of many become useless. When the Israelites saw the man, they all ran from him in great fear. 1 Samuel 17:24. You've got to run for your life. Trained soldiers have now become useless, soon becoming slaves. But when David the true warrior appeared, then David ran and stood over the Philistines and took his sword and drew it out of his shirt and killed him. The men of Israel and Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines. Men, women, and children would have dwelt under the rule of these ungodly men, and remember, there would not be any Solomon to build the temple of the Lord. This tells you aren't just identify the warrior in you for your own sake, but for others. Are you aware you are the hope of the many generations to come? Please, if you have not watched this message, I would like you to watch to understand the 3 generations. Third, the royals become slaves. I have seen slaves riding on horses and princes walking like slaves on the land. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 7. This is compared to a hungry man who preferred a loaf of bread to a handful of gold, who eats the bread and remains hungry and poor. So many people are just like this hungry man because they chose to live a simple, fast, easy life, in which they later found out not taking the risk is the risk itself. This hungry man was meant to be rich forever and also feed the poor and bring joy to this world. But he chose what lasts but for a moment. God has given you a handful of gold and a loaf of bread. The choice is yours. It is either you choose to uncover the territories under your heart, or you go to the grave with them and also leave others in slavery who were not meant to be. Have you found yourself in God? Have you recognized the warrior in you? Have you realized the number of destinies you will abort if you remain unrecognized. This is the time to rise up. Find yourself in God and recognize the warrior in you, and God save your world.